Stay with this story because there are calls for an urgent investigation into the circumstances that have led to this incident. Let's talk now to Saftu General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi, who's with us in studio tonight. Mr. Vavi, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. As we are saying, my colleague and I, it's a race against time. I think you are a former mine worker. When there is a fall of ground, or in this instant, a mudslide, are there escape routes underground where these workers can sit in hours on end until they are discovered, at least by the experts?
Well, before I answer the question, let me just express our deep concern and shock that now we are on Wednesday night, tomorrow is Thursday. It will be full 48 hours in the morning with 5 people trapped underground under conditions no one knows except that there was a mudslide. It's shocking that the management have not been updating the families and the union and all the members of the public throughout the day. And you can't imagine what those families should be going through. Or the workers who are going into some other parts of the mine, as you hear that it is business as usual, which is itself shocking. Under circumstances like that, the least that the mine management could have done is to suspend all operations and focus entirely on finding the 5 miners that are trapped underground. When a mudslide happens, it depends on how lucky you are. Yeah. Literally, it comes down to luck. Because if you are right in the middle of the water falling with mud coming all the way to you, you may find yourself in a situation where you cannot run anywhere. And if you were lucky to see it coming, maybe there will be escape routes. There are channels in the underground. You can run and sit in the corner and hope that the water and the mud doesn't come to your direction. Now, what is worrying us is that the management itself says they have not been able to communicate with the mine workers, meaning that the mine workers may be there surviving in some corner underground, or mine workers may have been or the worst could have happened. Yeah, worst case scenario. The worst scenario could happen. All we can do for now is to wish the families all the strength, and is to once again make a call in reinforcing what NUMSA have said nationally and at the Kimberley local, that management must bear the prime responsibility to do everything that they can to establish conducts and to ensure that those workers are brought to surface, hopefully safe, and so that they can rejoin their families first and their colleagues.
Mr. Vavi, what NUMSA is calling for, and of course in tandem or in line with what the federation that NUMSA belongs under, which is the one that you lead, is for a thorough investigation to be conducted here. Are you suspicious of some measures that may not have been that may not have been implemented by the miner?
The Health and Safety Act regulating the mining industry is categorical that there must be regular inspections and that there must be shop stewards responsible for mine health and safety, and that management must keep regular report in conjunction with the shop stewards to ensure that at all the time workers are not exposed to risks that will threaten their lives.
So let me come in there then, because the responsibility is not only on the mining company, it's also on the shop steward.
Absolutely.
So NUMSA has its shop stewards there. What have they been doing?
We hope that they were working together, and this is what I need to clarify with the union as to whether indeed they have been part of the regular checking of the safety standards in the mine. But that's a primary responsibility of management. The safety, the Mine Health Safety Act obliges that the union must be involved. So that's why we put the primary responsibility on the doorsteps of the mining company, but also the shop stewards who are responsible only for health and safety have a responsibility too to come up and say, we were part of the inspection, we know that the place was safe before going in, and this was perhaps just a shocking incident. Nobody would have humanly expected that it is going to happen. So that's where we are.
Well, listening to Howard Marsden, this is the general manager who spoke to our colleague at that mine who was explaining the whole mud rush thing. He seemed to suggest that there had been checks and that this comes as a complete surprise. Here's where I want to lead with this, because what you are now suggesting in your earlier answer is that what should actually be happening at this mine, given the number of hours that these workers have been underground, is for the suspension of operations. Are we where you are now going to suggest that the mine is placing profit before lives?
Absolutely. I mean, we have been making this call. All the unions that are organizing mine workers have been making a call that says, as soon as the incident of this nature happen, even if it involves a single worker, operations must stop. There must be discovery operation, and the worker, alive or unfortunately, if the worst thing happened, must be brought to the surface. And so that management can know that there's a price to pay in being reckless with the lives of mine workers. Now, there are 5 workers who have disappeared. We have not had any contact with them. Management have kept quiet the whole of the day, but it is increasing, or it is proceeding with the profits, which signals to the family that, sorry, we don't care much about your loved ones. It says to other workers, your lives are not more important than our rush for maximum profit that we must get out of this operation. It's an inhumane statement that you can subject anybody to. Just imagine asking workers to go to other parts of the mines, in other parts of the channels and shafts, and without them knowing where is that mud, did it end in that particular shaft, or is it spreading all over to engulf the entire underground. You remember the mining operation, by its nature, you're hitting the issue of the water. There's a lot of water, and that's why there's so much drainage of water out of the underground. But there's also unbearable heat. You know, me and you can't just go down underground without being acclimatized to cope with the conditions of sweltering heat underground. Now, the reporter says they don't know whether they have water, they have food, they have anything underground there. 48 hours in that heat. Wow. You can't imagine the worst could just be happening. So we want to make a call to management. Please stop operations. Be more human. Don't put profits above the lives of ordinary people. We want to make a call on the Department of Minerals, Petroleum and Resources to say you must conduct an independent investigation, involve the unions themselves so that we don't allow the Minerals Act and the management to conduct investigation and therefore investigate it themselves. We need the Minerals Department to come in and investigate. And we want to repeat the call being made by many unions that says we will stop these accidents the day the CEO of the mine is held accountable for each death that happens there. And they must be charged for culpable homicide, Because if we were to place that responsibility on their heads, they will be much more careful, and they will ensure that inspections are more frequent. They will ensure that the unions are involved. And we don't know even now whether some warnings were ignored. Yeah. Who will tell that when everything have happened? We want the Department of the Minerals, Resource and Energy to absolutely go to the bottom of this and to find out what happened.
Mr. Vavi, I'm always grateful for your time. Thanks indeed for coming in tonight. It's a desperate situation. Hopefully, we will be talking to you sometime soon.
Hopefully, there will be better news overnight and tomorrow, and that all the 5 workers will be brought to the surface alive.
Thank you, sir. General Secretary of Saftu, that's the federation under which NUMSA belongs, and NUMSA, of course, is the union, I suppose, with other unions that are organizing within the mining operations at Ekapa.